Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Maxine and I like to teach people how to sew and draft patterns. So today I'm going to teach you how to make panties. So I'll be using this old t-shirt of mine to transform this into a pair of panties. I thought this is perfect as I don't wear this anymore and I don't really want this to end up in the landfill. And then I thought, let me just try and reuse this somehow. But you don't need to use an old t-shirt. You can use any off-cut fabric that you've got, or if you want to buy fabric, you'll need about 1/2 meter of fabric. So your most ideal type of fabric is obviously going to be cotton. We always want to wear something breathable. I know we all have fabric lying around from older projects that we just haven't gotten to, and we think, oh, one day we'll get to it, and it's just too small to use for big projects and it's just too big to throw away. And I know we've all got them, so try and maybe use this. This is the perfect pattern for those pieces. So try and use this pattern and make yourself some underwear, which is quite fun. It's a fun little project. So this is a beginner friendly project, so this would take you about an hour to about 2 hours to make. So with regards to the pattern is completely free. It's on my website. I will link that down below and you can download that. You'll see that there's two versions. There's the A0 version and then the A4 version. The A0 you need to get printed specifically in a print shop. If that's not an option for you, then you can just download the A4 version and then print that on your own home printer. So it's completely free, so print that and then keep this pattern for future use as well. Please remember to like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell, as I will be releasing some more free patterns soon. So over here I'm just showing you the other options that you can do with the same pattern. So let's go over everything that we will need for this project. You will need your t-shirt or your fabric. You will need a erasable fabric marker. You'll need your pins. And then you will need elastic. So there's different kinds of elastics. So you will need an elastic for the waist, and then you will need an elastic for around the leg. So as you can see, there's so many different kinds. You get the ones with a scallop edge, like these ones, and then you get like these sparkly ones. You get so many different kinds. So this all depends on your taste. For the elastic, you'll need about 1.5 meters around the leg, and then about 1.2 meters for around the waist. So rather get a little bit extra just for in case. Then you'll need your fabric scissor, your paper scissor, your thread, and then very important, because we're working with stretch fabric, we need to use stretch needle. So make sure you use a stretched needle. And then you'll need the tape. So depending on which pattern you're going to be using, if you're going to be using the A4 pattern, you will need tape to stick the pieces together. And then finally you will need your pattern. So now here's our pattern ready. Be sure to measure the test box. So we need to make sure that it's exactly 10 by 10 centimeters. If this measurement is not correct, your pattern is not going to be the right size. So now we can cut out our pattern. The size guide is on my website. So if you're unsure about the sizes, rather go with the bigger size. It's easier to do alterations. And then if you don't want to cut into your actual pattern piece, get some tracing paper like this. It's like a see-through lightweight paper. And then just trace off your size and then cut that out. Make sure that you use your paper scissor here to cut out your pattern and not your fabric scissor. So now I've got my pattern pieces cut out. Now I'll be going over to the t-shirt and I'm going to be cutting the side seams open. When you place your pattern, make sure that the stretch goes around the body. So meaning the stretch needs to go this way. So as you can see, this just fits my pattern. So now you can place your pattern and then we're going to use our pen and then we will just trace off our pattern. If you prefer, you can actually just pin your pattern to your fabric and just cut right ahead. But I just find that just tracing it off first, you get more accurate copy of your pattern. So remember to change your needle on your machine to a stretch needle, and then we can start sewing. So now we have all our pieces cut out, and then we can start by sewing 1 centimeter the front and the back together. So now we need to change to a stretch stitch. On my machine, it's number 9. You can see it looks like this. If your machine doesn't have that, you can just do a zigzag stitch. Make sure that your zigzag is closer together and it's a smaller zigzag like this. Then you basically get the same stitch like that. So as you can see, the stretch stitch is a tiny zigzag stitch. So now we'll take our gusset, right side facing the wrong side of the back. So we're going to flip it over like that, and then we're going to sew that seam on 1 centimeter again. So now we can use our overlocker, your serger, and just serge the front edge of the gusset. Now that we have that overlock, we're just going to baste the edges together. Sew the side seams, right sides facing each other, sew them on 1 centimeter and then overlock the edges as well. So all elastics stretch differently. You get some elastics that aren't as stretchy and some elastics that are very stretchy. So with this being said, it's quite difficult for me to tell you the exact size that you need to use around the leg and around the waist. So the best option here is to take your elastic and actually measure around your own leg what is comfortable. You don't want it to be too tight where it digs into your skin. So just kind of follow along where your current underwear is and then stretch that and see what's comfortable and cut to that size. Start by pinning the edges of the elastic together and then place the elastic on the inside of the panty. As you pin the elastic, make sure that the stretch stays even all the way around. You don't want more stretch in the front or more stretch in the back. So just pin it evenly around. Now we're just going to sew that elastic all the way around. Make sure you pull the elastic until just the elastic is taut and not the fabric. You don't want to pull on the fabric. Once you have both legs sewn, you can also overlock both legs. Then from here, we're going to top stitch both legs. So I'm just using a straight stitch over here. So then this is what my top stitch looks like. So if you're going to go with a fold over elastic, lip elastic, this is what it looks like. You're going to make sure that you place the fabric in between the elastic, fold it over and pull only on the elastic. You don't want to pull on the fabric, and just stitch that. Then you get the scallop elastic as well, like this. You'll start by placing the elastic edge to edge. So the scallop must face up into the panty, and then pull only the elastic and then sew right under the scallop. You don't want to stitch on the scallop. Overlock that, and then you're going to use your top stitch, either zigzag, and then just top stitch that. So as you can see, there's so many different options for elastics. So now we can go on to the waist elastic. So I'll be using this thicker elastic as I'm going for more sporty look. Measure, same thing, measure around yourself what is comfortable and then cut. Overlock the top edge of the panty and then sew your elastic so it's one piece. Then pin the elastic all the way around the top waist. Make sure the stretch is even as well. Then from here we can do a top stitch. I'm just using a straight stitch. I'm going to do a double straight stitch. So when I'm done with this one, I'm going to do another line right on top of it. So there you go. Let me know what you thought of today's project and let me know how yours came out. Thank you so much for watching.